I kind of like that name. Volume.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. We're doing something a little bit different today because I felt creative. Now, deck building is one of the most fun things in Marvel Snap, and seeing new cards introduced each season, it can be pretty exciting. Whether your deck gets buffed that you're using currently, or decks that you'd like to see get buffed in the future because you think they're fun. Well, I was bored, so I made some cards of my own because I was like, it'd be cool to see if I could buff decks myself and see what the community thought on these cards. Now, I will 100% disclaimer. The balance of these cards are not completely there. I am not a dev. I didn't try to balance them too much. Like I took some time to actually think about like what each deck needs and like the idea that I would go into to like, patch whatever these decks are that I would like to see come up in the meta more. I did my best to make them interesting and different while keeping them in the reality of like balance as best as I could. That being said, I'm sure some of these might be a little strong. That's okay. They're not real cards guides. They're my own creations. So let's go ahead and talk about them. All right, so a little fun fact, guys. Nightcrawler is my second favorite hero ever. I think the ability to teleport is one of the coolest things you could do. And if I could have a superpower, it would probably most likely be the power to teleport. I just think it's a really cool power. So I wanted to do justice to a Nightcrawler card while keeping him unique to a niche deck because I just, he's so cool. So cool. Back in the day, I used to play a game called Marvel Heroes Omega, and he was a debuff styled unit. So I wanted to keep that essence that, from that game because that game closed down a while ago and just like bring it back. So Nightcrawler. Uncanny X-Men. He's a 2/2. 2 cost, 2 power. Ongoing. Enemy front row cards here. -1 power if you discarded a card. -2 power if one of your cards has been destroyed. So I kind of took a little bit from Wild Child because I wanted to mix it in there and make him function with that deck, but not just give him power for it. More so take away power from the enemy, while keeping it uniquely in that field section in the front line to help out Phantom X with his job, because I just like the idea of like controlling areas and at least take away some of the RNG when it comes to where it's going. Like it's obviously going to be focused on the 2 front units. That's where he's going to excel at. That's the idea. Now, it's only -3 on both sections. It's not as strong as Phantom X, where Phantom X can -2 the whole front row. This is just focused on this one area. So in a way, it's kind of like Diamondback, but Diamondback can kind of spread everywhere in that field, -2s, where he's -3ing, but it's just at most -3, right, on the 2 front rows. So I think this fits pretty well. It might be a little too strong, but if you think about where Wild Child is and where Nightcrawler is, Wild Child can go to 9 power. This is only really not taking away 8. So Wild Child is still technically stronger overall, right? But you can also think about the synergies, like Diamondback plus Nightcrawler would be really good. So like, I think this is pretty, I want to say this is a pretty solid place, just due to the power that you're getting. It's, I think, 8 total, where Wild Child gets 9. So it's technically weaker than Wild Child, but it's just different. So Nightcrawler, make it happen. Or don't. I really know. Let me know what you guys think of Nightcrawler. Alright guys, going into my favorite Marvel character, Gambit. But not just any Gambit. This is new Sun Gambit. This is when he has full access to his power. For those who don't know a little bit of lore, Gambit got his part of his brain locked away because he wasn't able to control his full power. But I want to say Mr. Sinister, I think. And he nerfed himself essentially. This is him with the full access of his like brain and not having it limited. And he's an Omega power mutant at this level, but the struggle is he can't fully control it. So, new Sun Gambit, cost 6, power 7. Yes, 6/7. On reveal, destroy your highest power card here to destroy 2 random enemy cards at other locations. Add their combined power to Gambits. Is a little strong? Maybe. It depends on what you destroy. I made sure to make an honor reveal that way there's counterplay to it, like Cosmo. I also thought about like armor as a potential counter. There are ways to counter this guy. Now that being said, he could hit two very small things. It's all RNG. That's how Gambits are always played. Play him, he'll destroy something at random. He also destroys something on your field, your strongest thing in that area. I wanted to do this on purpose so you have to strategize around Gambit so he's not just a free placement destroy too. There is a little bit of consequences, though you can play that to your benefit, like with like Wolverine, right? So there's some synergy there. So I think he's all right. I think his power might be too strong. It could probably get dropped to 5. So he could be a 6-5, probably 6-4. It's all random, like what he destroys. He might destroy 2 really big things, or he might destroy 1 really big thing and 1 thing protected by armor, or like just 1 really small thing that has like no power. Keep in mind, if you have negative inflicted units on your team like a Void, he could hit it and take the negative as well. So there's a little bit of that too. So it's all random. I think this is a relatively decent balance, but it might be a little powerful. Maybe. Needs to be tested. All right, guys, we're hitting into fan favorite territory. Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, but in this case, it's just focusing on Tony Stark. So, he's a 3/4 activate card. Your cards here played this turn cost 1 less, or negative 1 minus. Give Tony Stark 2+ power for each card played. The idea here is that we want to stay on theme with the character and their personality or whoever they are. And Tony Stark is a egotistical main character like type of guy, so he'll help out others if it benefits him. That's the idea of the theme here, at least early on, like Tony Stark, right? So the idea here is that he'll do things for your deck or whatever if it benefits him. So the idea is that he makes everything 1 less, cost 1 less to play that turn, and in return he gets 2+ power. So I think it's pretty cool, an idea for like just a basic ramp deck, maybe for him to be a centerpiece of that deck. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's relatively balanced. I don't think you'll get too big. Like, depends on what you have in your hand. If you have a bunch of 1s or whatever, it could get crazy because then you could just play a bunch of 1s and get him really, really big. But you'd have to, design the deck around that, where this realistically might fit in with the Maverick deck or something where, yeah, he could become a decently sized opponent or a card that, can hit maybe 8 power, 10 power, which, if you play 3 cards, then you deserve that you don't get it. So I think it's a really cool card because realistically, you play him turn 3, activate him turn 4, and then you use whatever energy you have, depending on like what your deck is, to benefit him. Now, this could go crazy if Star-Lord, of course, I know, but like, it's Tony Stark. Let him live his life. The next one is a little bit of me just being a goofball and wanting to have this card because I think it'd be pretty funny. I went through multiple eras of balancing this character, and we'll talk about it a little bit, but I landed on here because I think it's the most balanced out of all 3 that I made. He's a 1/3 zombie Doctor Strange. When this returns to your hand, Horde +1. At the start of each turn, return this to your hands. Yes, he's reverse Kitty Pryde for zombies. Now, that being said, I had a few variations where like maybe if he guaranteed go to your hand turn 2, you can start your zombie horde like flowing. I also had a variation where he's like a 1/1 and he just starts in your hand. The issue of zombies is that it's very inconsistent because you need to have zombie Scarlet Witch in your hand. You need to have giant Power Man or zombie giant Power Man, whatever it is, in your hand, like, or in your like win condition. Like, it's really awkward because the zombie horde is very inconsistent, and you can get really big if you're lucky, if you're zombie horde, or just you can't win or do anything because you don't draw those cards. At least this way, we have another zombie card that, can benefit the zombie deck and kind of be played off of like Lockheed, which is like the main other reason I made him a 1 cost because I wanted to make him, play with Lockheed. And I think it's kind of cool because he's not making himself bigger. He's just making the zombie horde bigger for you to play off your zombie horde. So I think it's relatively a decent card. I don't think it's busted. I think it's relatively balanced. And I think this would just push zombies to be a little bit more consistent. Now, you could drop him to a 1/1 and make him Horde +2, but like if you opened your hand with a Horde +2, Holy crap, it's a little strong. So the idea here is that you just slowly build up your horde and, not go too crazy with it, but keep it a little bit more consistent than where it's at. Because obviously you got the zombie horde card that you play it. It's a skill card, you get +3 horde. It's not as strong as that. I think you can, stack him a few times and add to your zombie pile, but I don't think he's busting any meta with it. I just think he makes the deck a little bit more consistent, depending on when you pull this guy. If you pull him early, great. And even if you pull him late, he's cheap enough to play where you can still get a few cheat stacks on your zombie horde if you play him Scarlet Witch, which is the idea. That way you can, build up your horde. So I like the idea of this guy. I don't think it would break the deck. I think it'd make the deck a little bit more consistent and have a guaranteed spot for him in it, but I don't think it does anything crazy. So I actually wouldn't mind seeing a card like this in the future. So here's a weird one. Banshee. He's a Marvel hero that is a part of the X-Men. I want to say he's like Black Bolt, but like nerfed. He has like some supersonic abilities like Black Bolt, but I don't think it's at that level from what I looked up. Never heard of this character before, by the way. I just know he's an X-Men, which is why I'm covering him, because I think he's, that's a cool idea to get more X-Men in the game. And I didn't really know what to do with this guy. So, what could Bounce use? Potentially use. So, he's a Bounce card. He's a 3/5. On reveal, return your other cards here to your hand. They cost 1 less and have their activated abilities refreshed. Now, does this help Bounce? I actually, it might if you use active. It gives Bounce an option to run active cards now, I suppose. I guess. Bounce is in a weird spot. I think it's a good deck. I don't know exactly what it needs. I'm not the Bounce guy. That would be more so, I think, Harry Perry's playstyle is Bounce. So, Harry, if you're watching this, let me know what you need, brother, because I don't really know what Bounce really needs. I just thought this was a cool ability that might, work and give you more avenues to use. I know activated abilities aren't like the greatest thing ever, and they're weird at times, and depending on the cost of the card, they can be really icky. But, it's something. It's something, I think. So, let me know if I'm cooking or if I'm cooked. Alright, guys, we're approaching the last card in this video, which is my favorite card. And I wanted to do something unique instead of just playing a bunch of, on-reveal stuff or whatever. I wanted to do a tool-based card, because I think Prowler is really cool. I like the tools. I like tools in the game. I think they're really cool for tech stuff. So, Cluster, Lady Phantom X. I know, I love Phantom X. He's a really cool character. He's not even my top 8, but I think he's really cool because of the card. She's a 2/3 activate card. Add a misdirection mask to your hand. If your opponent has an ongoing card in play, also add a tactical link. I know, she's an activate tool card. It sounds really cool in theory. 2 costs, pretty affordable. Most tool cards, I think, are the same as energy cards, where they're 3 cost. But 3 cost are flooded. So I wanted to give her another place to go, which is a 2 cost, because you have to play the cost of your tool anyway. And sometimes they're discounted, Prowlers can be discounted. So I wanted to try to balance it the best to my ability to not make her overly powered when it comes to her activated ability, because you can't activate it to turn 3 anyway, which means you're not getting it to your hand right away. You have time to adjust her hand, drain your hand, adjust her hand. She won't work on the last turn of the game. Neither does Prowler, so it's kind of balancing that. You really want her to turn, 2, 3 at the most. Turn 4 latest, because you can still play Phantom X at turn 5. And her whole flow is to pair with Phantom X. Now, going into her tools, though. Misdirection Mask. I actually really like the idea of this card. That way Phantom X become a little bit more consistent. It's a 1-cost tool. On reveal, discard a card in your hand with the lowest cost. Then destroy it from your discard pile and draw a card. I know, it sounds overpowered. I know. But Phantom X has got a lot of loopholes to jump through, and when I was designing this card, I was like, who would this pair with the most? Meru. You discard her, she activates 7 Afflict. Then you destroy her, and I don't actually know if that would reapply it. That'd be funny. I don't think it would. But like, you just discard Marrow, and then like she just deflect -7. That's the idea. Or Black Cat or whatever it is that you're trying to get rid of as a discard, whatever it is, and then you destroy it. So therefore, Phantom X is fully activated based off one card. You don't need multiple setups. It gets Phantom X going. You could remove the draw a card out of this. I really just added it just because you're not getting this to turn 4 anyway, or turn 3, I guess, in theory. Anyway, draw is nice. Draw makes your deck more consistent. You only really need to draw 2 cards in total to make your deck fully like drain through if you have 7 turns to play with. So drawing 1 card is powerful. Yes. You could increase the tool cost to 2. It is a strong enough card to definitely be cost of a 2 cost card like Fastball. I think is on that level. So her tools could cost 2 in theory. I think that'd be okay. Now, the other part of her ability was if the enemy has an ongoing card, you can draw another tool called Tactical Link. Tactical Link. On reveal, for the rest of the game, enemy cards here cannot prevent power reduction. So no Luke Cage. No Luke Cage. That was the goal of this card. Because Affliction's biggest weakness is Luke Cage. And it would be too strong to say, oh, the whole board can't be, protected by Luke Cage. But I think it's fair if one side of the board or one field of the board could still be afflicted even through Luke Cage, because Luke Cage is too strong in my opinion. No card should be able to place wherever you want and protect your whole field from Affliction. That counters the whole point of Affliction. However, if there was a way to undo maybe one field of it, it would be balanced. So that was the idea around Tactical Link, is that you could still get through Luke Cage in one area of the map that you really want to apply the Affliction on. This is relatively okay. That way it doesn't completely sack the whole idea of like, oh, I guess I'm just countered here, right? You could always just play Rogue and counter his ongoing ability, but this way you can, put more cards in your deck that would help benefit your deck than just trying to fully focus your deck around countering Luke Cage. Also, you're not guaranteed this. It's if they're playing Luke Cage or any ongoing effect, this would be like you'd get this, and this is very situational towards that situation. Well, they played Luke Cage, so now I click the activate button and try to counter Luke Cage. So that makes them able to hold their Luke Cage as well. So there's a little bit of counterplay to this. I think this one is relatively decent and thought out because it's not cleansing the whole field of like Luke Cage. It's just cleansing one zone spot of Luke Cage. So I like it. I think it's something I would like to see in the future where you could at least counter Luke Cage in some ways outside of like Rogue or Enchantress. That would be a budget cost card that cleanses or disables one field from being protected. Alright guys, that's going to be it from me and my created cards. I could keep going with this series if you are interested. That's completely fine. Let me know if you'd like to see me make more cards. And of who. If there's characters you'd like to see in the future that I, didn't bring in, that's missing from Marvel Snap, or alteration versions of cards you'd like to see me make, let me know. I might do it, a part 2 of this video, depending on how good it does. I had fun doing it, and we'll see how it does. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video or enjoyed it at least. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.